一下。OK， so 我们现在的，所以我们现在的这个video seminar already on the YouTube in live. I will send the link to all the 对。Okay. 看 send out to 我把它放到全room呀。OK， 大家可以看到啊，这个是 YouTube channel 的这个 live。好。对，Laura 有上来吗？好。那么在这个seminar 开始之前，我再跟大家说一声，这个我们有这个同声翻译啊，就是如果用电脑的朋友们呢，就是在这个最下面有个地球仪叫 interpretation 这里，如果是用手机的话呢，就是你可以点那个 more， 就是更多，它有3个点，然后你点开了 interpretation 呢，你就可以选这个Chinese。然后你之后听到的就是中文，好吧？就是我们的这个 guest speaker， 如果他说的是英文的话，我们就会把它翻译成这个中文啊。好，我们的州长办公室的范小江亚裔事务主任也上来了 ，Hello， 以雷。然后 Hi，Hello， Hi。的，那么我们再等一下。然后在我们的 chat room 里面，刚才我已经把这个 YouTube 的这个 live stream 的 link 已经发到了这个 chat 这个 box 里面。那么大家就说，如果有朋友可以发到其他的各群里面，如果有朋友就是他们不会用 Zoom 的话，你可以把这个 link 发给他哈。Okay. Let's wait another 2 minutes. Okay. 然后我们的 Lauren 也上来了，待会儿呢，他会在这个每个嘉宾讲完以后呢，就是各位观众呢可以在 chat box 里面就是打你们想要提的问题，或者就是每个guest speaker 就是每个我们的特邀嘉宾讲完以后呢，会有5分钟的这个问答时间哈。Check-in. 好，我们再等个2分钟，然后我们就正式开始。然后我再给刚刚上线的这个只能听得懂中文的朋友们再说一下啊。如果你用的是电脑的话，就是在最下面有个地球仪，它就是 interpretation，翻译的一个。然后呢，你点开那个地球仪。如果你用的是手机的话，就是有下面3个点，点那个更多 more。然后下面你会看到一个地球仪的圆的那个标志，然后呢，你点开以后呢，选择 Chinese 中文，然后呢，你就之后呢，如果我们的这个嘉宾说的是英文的话，你听到的就是中文哈。OK。然后呢，就是在我们的会议期间，如果大家有任何问题的话，可以在这个 chat，就是这个谈话的框里面，然后把你们的问题然后打进去，不管是中文的、英文的都可以哈。OK，那我们现在可以正式开始了。OK。各位在线的嘉宾们、女士们、先生们，大家晚上好！我是今天晚上的讲座的发起人和主持人，美国上海同乡会的会长沈俊。欢迎大家今天来到我们向社区提供的美国上海同乡会线上系列讲座的第4讲——消费者金融保护线上讲座。Good evening, guest speakers, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the initiator and host of this evening's seminar, Jun Shen, the president of the Shanghai Association in USA. Welcome to our Shanghai Association in USA lecture series number 4 seminar. Today, the topic is Consumer Financial Protection Online Seminar. 那么我现在来介绍一下我们的这个发起主办方。 是美国上海同乡会。Initiate organizer is a Shanghai Association in USA。那么我们的共同主办方co-organizer 有我们的亚裔爱心辅助会，Access Future 美国福建会馆，福建 Association in USA。纽约台山侨胞妇女联合会 Chin American Women Association。那么我是今天的这个主持人。那么我们今天还有就是同声传译是我们的亚裔爱心辅助会的吴楠副会长。The simultaneously interpreter is our co-host Access Future Vice President Mr. Nan Wu. Okay, so 就是在这里再提醒一下，如果不会英文听不懂的。之后我们的嘉宾有说英文的，然后你可以把频道就是下面那个地球仪调到有个 interpretation 翻译的调到中文，然后你听到的就是中文的，好吗？我们是有同声传译的哈。那么我来介绍一下今天我们主讲嘉宾。那么我们邀请到的有纽约州州长办公室亚裔事务主任范小江，以令范Director of Asian Affairs of the New York State Governor's Office. Welcome, Elaine. 跟大家打个招呼。然后是纽约州49选区众议员郑永嘉 ，New York State Assemblyman Lester Chen. He is a member of the New York State Assembly Banks Committee. Hi, Lester. Okay. The next one is. 皇后区检察官办公室的防老年诈骗部门的专员，Darren Workers from a Queens District Attorney, Melinda Cates Office Elder Fraud Unit Coordinator. Welcome. Hello, Darren. 然后第4位是Transglobal 泛宇集团的首席投资长 Chief Investment Officer Herman Chen。Hi, Herman. 那第5位是我们的爱法律师楼的代表李丽娜律师 ，Alpha Law LLC 的 lawyer Lina Lee。好，他刚才上来哈。然后呢，第6位呢是109分局的社区联络官黄警官 Iris Huang from 109 Precinct。他呢会在之后9点钟的时候上线跟大家分享，因为他现在就是还有事情在忙哈。那么我说一下今天我们的这个发起的这个原因，那么吴楠可以翻译一下，我现在就说一下英文哈。Because many victims are from Flushing, Brooklyn, and in the other places and New York City area, we would like to discuss the solutions. Like Shanghai Association in USA recently have been holding many different seminars to help communities such as China visa applications, career planning. So the consumer financial protection and prevent identity theft in community is good topic to discuss for this like seminar online. So 我在这里说一下，就是因为最近呢，就是大家在这个华人社区里面呢，有很多包括银行账户被盗、电话卡被盗、微信被盗、身份证件被盗，就是这样子的很多的问题。那么我们就是在这里呢，就是想和各个这个社区人士，然后就是 from different departments 的来探讨一下这些应对的一些策略，还有我们之后的一些打算。然后呢，就是看一下就是怎样加强银行的安全等级，来防止客户的账户被盗。然后呢，就是我们的监管的机构和警局有什么好的建议和执法的这个规划。那么今天我们也非常有幸的邀请到了这个检察官办公室的，那就是对于这类的案件，我们是怎样的一个就是这个诉求可以反映到我们的检察官办公室。然后就是另外就是这个像这个律师怎么样去寻求这些法律上面的一些途径，然后还有就是最近非常火的就是硅谷银行等金融机构倒闭后的一些建议哈。那么首先我们 来邀請我們的第一個 guest speaker，紐約州長辦公室亞裔事務主任范小江來跟我們分享一下。So welcome Elaine Fan, Director of the Asian Affairs of New York State Governor's Office, like give share some ideas. Welcome.
大家晚上好，我就讲中文了。我是纽约州州长 Kathy Hochul 的亚裔事务主任，非常感谢这个美国上海同乡会沈会长定期的积极的为大家举办这么有意义的 workshop。其实关于今天的主题呢，我觉得我们办公室并不是专家，因为在线的有我们 DA office， 还有我们109分局11点会来的黄警官呢，他们一定会给大家带来很多有用的信息。我只是表达对workshop 的支持，并且呢想说 identity theft 就是这个身份盗窃呢，对这个 senior 和移民呢是一个很巨大的威胁，所以我相信今天的 workshop 对大家的生活品质以及个人安全都会有非常大的帮助。然后我也预祝说沈会长和各位 co-sponsor 很重要的这些会我就不一一的 acknowledge 了，希望今天晚上的活动能够成功，非常感谢。
好，非常感谢Elaine的支持啊！Elaine也是非常在我们大大小小社区这个活动中都有就是他来支持我们，然后也跟我们发声。那么希望我们以后能够得到州长办公室更多的支持哈，谢谢。那么下面一位呢，我们来邀请我们的纽约州49选区的众议员郑永嘉 New York State Assemblyman Lester Chen share his idea。因为我知道就是之前我们的这个郑议员呢，在他的选区有召开过类似的这个诈骗的一个线下的这个会议，然后来了100多个受害者，对吗 ？Right. OK. 然后我们来就是让我们的郑议员来跟我们分享一下。OK.
各位，我鄭永佳，我係州議員。我唔識講國語，不過我識講廣東話。不過我講英文。Okay, I'm going to translate in English. Good evening. My name is Lester Chang, Assemblyman, represent Sunset Park, Brooklyn, and I'm also sitting in a banking committee. 5 weeks ago, I set up a webinar, not a webinar, but a meeting. I want to hear my constituents about fraud. And surprisingly, over 50 people show up, but not in all my district, but all over the city. And that tells me we have an underlying problem right now. So I hope what I learned from here is, first thing is identify what kind of fraud, solve some problems, and identify the perpetrator, and most important, education of my constituents, of everyone, not just only my district, but everyone. And one thing I forgot to do is thank you, June, for hosting this. Thank you, Darren Wilkes, from being Queens District Attorney, working for this. And Elizabeth, you are representing for Queens District Attorney as well, right? So, and thank you for being here, because you're the expert. And I just hope I could be the avenue is to either change laws and regulations or help identify the perpetrator and help solve getting the money back for my constituents. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblyman Chen. I have some questions. So I heard about just like some bank maybe in the other state, they already started using facial recognition, or just is it possible to like use a facial recognition or the fingerprints to request the bank to add in more security when they like check the identity? Just because a lot of the people they be stolen by the driver license, then the some bank the counter, the people they just look at it, it's just similar, the person just similar, then they just give the money away. So how do you think the legislation for this kind of can we add it on for more security for the identity check in the bank?
From my studies, the most important thing is I would put a credit hold on my account, freeze your credit, so no one can able to open up bank accounts and credit cards or anything else once you put a credit freeze. That should be as simple. Second, biometrics that you were mentioning about, fingerprints, facial recognition, they're all nice, added layer of security. That's very nice at all. But it goes down to a very basic thing is change your password. Always check your account, your bank account frequently, always check. And third is be aware of who have access to your account. So that's what we have. Now, the good thing is if it's a bank fraud using an identity, then there's a way to get the bank to return some of the money back to you, even credit cards. But anything outside of that is very difficult to recover money. Darren, do you have anything to add?
Yes, I think some banks are adding additional security measures. For example, some banks have added a verbal password. Anytime you're making a transaction, even if somebody steals your ID and they go to the bank, if they don't know that verbal password, then the bank representative, in theory, should not conduct any transactions until they get that verbal password. So I think it's a good idea to check with your bank and ask them what additional security measures are available. And I totally agree and applaud your comment to check your statements regularly, because if you do have any type of identity theft or fraud on your account, the banks will usually assist you, work with you, and sometimes return your money, but not if you wait, more than 30 or 60 days. So if you miss a couple of statements, it becomes much more difficult to get the bank to work with you and make you whole.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
But one thing I have a challenge from the people who show up is filing a police report. That's the first thing they have to do, file a police report. It's not easy at all. I realize that. Translation is a problem, documentation a problem, and some police precinct may not take your case if you don't live in their precinct, and which is not true. You can live anywhere in the precinct and file a police report. But some precincts don't want to do the extra work. So, and that's the challenge, is to help people is to file a police report, first thing. Second, they to file a report on the FTC. That's Federal Trade Commission. Third, they file a report on the FCC if possible. So you have to file numerous reports before even the bank will entertain to make you whole. But just filing a basic police report is already a challenge. And I'm in my website, I'm trying to design a checklist what you need to do when filing a police report in English and Chinese. And second, I'm trying to put an interactive web. So when you have a problem in my website, when you're filing a problem, you can write both English, Chinese, or any other languages in there. So we're trying to work on that reporting to make it easier for the constituents. So that's what we're trying to do. It takes some time to do it. And my office have not yet opened up officially, maybe April 1st. So we can't really do an intake completely, except this one time we just did a seminar, and people show up, and I had them to fill a detailed report for me, whatever language it is, because that detailed report became the basis of filing a police report that would help some of the people. But I did not realize that it become critical.
Right. So yeah. So like everybody asked the people to go to the police office to report stolen everything, get them to write the report, because they have certain like the criminal rates they need to follow or something. So it's just very difficult. So each it's like different standard. Some like right for you. Some they said no. Some said, oh, go back to the place you just lose your wallet, or so this ID be stolen, and call 911. So the person already in the police department, why need to go back the place to wait? So sometimes I just figured out the New York City, the police department, they don't have the very standard, like the rule and the transparency for all of the police, like same rule. Like it's just hard to let the people to get the police report. So the crime or the like identity theft or the bank, the money be get like stolen, it's very hard to let the police to follow up, right?
I'd like to ask a question for Darren is, what is your standard procedures that people, I know we have jurisdiction issues, we have type of fraud, but the first thing is a police report. How do you, in your ways, can make it easier for people? Because I find it very challenging on even our side.
Yes, I have heard that also from many complainants that come to our office that tried to file a police report. And as you and June mentioned, that it's not standard. And if you go to a precinct that's overwhelmed that day, they may say they can't take a report. My suggestion when I have a complainant that has tried and failed is to be persistent. Contact the community affairs officer at the precinct. If you walk in the front door and the person at the desk does not want to take a police report or tells you that they can't take a police report, don't give up. Call the community affairs officer. Call the detective squad. Call a supervisor. Also, I've heard from many complainants that they've contacted, a crime victims advocate or many other organizations throughout the city that assist with crime victims to assist them with getting a police report. Sometimes they will go to the precinct with them. I've gotten calls, and I've made a call to a precinct to try to assist a complainant with getting a police report. And it's, as you mentioned, the banks will not investigate a fraud almost exclusively without a police report. I believe the police departments know this, but I think it's just a case of some days, sometimes they're overwhelmed, and sometimes they don't always do it, but they should. So my advice to people is persistency. Try different avenues. The consumer affairs officer should be helpful to respond to these types of situations. And if you need to go to a different precinct, go to a different precinct, but be persistent.
Okay.
I find that that's unacceptable. As a public servant, people have been victimized, and now they're being victimized of lack of services. So that's frustration. That's what we feel in our office. Okay, that's unacceptable. But so that's why I have to do an intuitive type of my website for people to file some sort of a complaint in my website, and we do a follow-up and hopefully to do a police report. Again, it's the jurisdictional. So I'm not happy with what you're saying about that. So that tells me it's a failure of customer service. I know they're overwhelmed, but we have to move forward. And just let people know is there is a bill being proposed right now, and I will be co-sponsoring, is petty larceny. Right now we have a cashier's bail. Right now for people who steal things or shoplift for less than $1,000, they can basically go out once they get charged, and they can release their own recognizances without any cash bail because their value is very low. But what we're trying to propose is if you add up all those small value to over $1,000, then becomes grand larceny. Now cashier's bail will be in jeopardy. So we're trying to propose that. So we will encourage everyone, no matter how small, you're a store owner, no matter how small the item, someone steal a $10 item, $30 item. When you add everything up to over 1,000, now it becomes a grand larceny. That's what we're trying to propose the bill on our side. Something to help the police. Now that will be bothersome for the police to see many of those reports, but that is the only way we can educate our community to file a police report, no matter how small, so we can build up the case for that perpetrator and then really charge them at a higher charge. And then hopefully they can go to jail and without being released. That's what we're trying to do on our side. But yes, it's a frustration part on a police report. I'm being the recipient of that right now. And I'm sure you are, Daryl. So just being persistent, but one step at a time. I hopefully this webinar, what we're doing, maybe get somebody somewhere in the city to identify it and solve this problem. It's unacceptable. This is terrible.
Right. So when I went to the police, the 109 police, then they said some like report you can report online, but I never see this online system. But some they said they can't. I just wonder. I think this, especially New York City, they should be develop some like reports, like some app or something. Let the people use a different language can like report something easily. Then had the certain like people with standard go directly to the detective or the higher police like level to dealing with this issue. Otherwise, like a small like a crime or something never can be found out and never can be like solved, right? Yeah. Okay. So right now, let's welcome the Darren Willis, Queens District Attorney, Melinda Kate's office Elder Fraud Unit Coordinator, to give us like around 15 to 20 minutes presentation. Okay, let's welcome Darren. Great. So you can share your screen, right?
Okay, thank you very much. I'm just gonna share my screen here. Okay, can you all hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. So thank you, June and the Shanghai Association. Thank you, Assemblyman Chang, for being here, and everyone for being here. I think this is one of the most important jobs that I have in the Elder Fraud Unit at the DA's office, public outreach. Helping to make people aware of the frauds that we're seeing out there. These frauds are always evolving, they're always changing, but many of the elements remain the same. And we want to help educate the public as to what we're seeing, what complaints we're seeing, to help people avoid becoming a victim. So my one request for everyone tonight is to share this information with friends, family. The more people that are made aware of these things, the less victims we will have. That's my hope. I'd like to thank our Bureau Chief Joe Conley, the Elder Fraud Chief Anna Dow, and of course, District Attorney Katz for allowing us to do these public outreach presentations. So I'm going to talk about a lot of frauds and scams that we're seeing, identity theft. Identity theft is going to be a common theme throughout these frauds. As I mentioned, there's many different frauds. I'm going to hit some of the biggest ones that we see. I'm not a big statistics person, but as you can see on the page here, the amount of money lost, the amount of victims, the increase that we see from year to year, this should really jump out at people, let them know that these things are real. A lot of the frauds, when we talk about them to citizens, sometimes they seem a little unbelievable that they work. You can see from these numbers that they are working and people are losing a lot of money. The other thing I wanted to mention is recovering money is not always an easy thing. It's not always the outcome, although we try our best. If the scammers are in another country or the money changes hands in certain ways, gift cards, other types of transfers, it's not always easy to recover the money. Just really quickly, as you can see here, this is the statistics from the FTC. I'm so glad that Assemblyman Chang mentioned the FTC. I also encourage people to report their complaints to the FTC. They keep data on all these complaints. They have taken action in the past on certain scam complaints regarding money transfer services, Western Union, MoneyGram, and that sort of thing. But as you can see here, the top category is imposter scams. Now, there are many types of imposter scams. I'm going to go through some of the bigger ones tonight. But basically, these are people that are pretending to be somebody they're not, to try to trick you out of your money. It could be somebody pretending to be from the US government about a visa application. It could be somebody from your pretending to be a bank representative. It could be somebody from pretending to be Con Ed, right? We've seen a lot of those scams. There's a saying, trust but verify, right? So you always want to verify who you're talking to. And in order to verify, you don't want to use any information given to you by the scammer. So sorry about that. I think people need to mute. You can't use information given to you by the caller. If they tell you I'm from Con Ed and this is my phone number to call you back, you have to look up the number on your own. I'm going to talk about, some email scams later. But these imposter scams can be a whole variety of things. The important thing is you have to verify who you're talking to always. Now, this screen, I'm going to talk about romance scams tonight. I'm going to talk a little bit about investment crypto scams. And if you look at this screen, I find it very interesting that these two categories are the biggest loss categories out of these, imposter scams. You can see there the romance scam and the miscellaneous investments, which, contain investment type scams, cryptocurrency type scams. These are the biggest loss amounts because these things, people are being tricked by these. And I'm going to go into detail in just a little bit. So these are some of the larger categories of scams. And as you can see on the bottom of the screen, identity theft is a common theme throughout all of these scams. We have, on the left, we have the imposter scams, romance scams, grandparent, we call it a jail bail scam. I'm going to go into detail about that one, where somebody calls and pretends to be a family member and asks you for money. Email, phone scams. We have seen numerous victims recently that were the victim of email pop-ups saying that there's a problem with your computer, problem with your bank account. So here again, this is an example where, yes, it's alarming, but before you take action, before you call that number, do a little research on, you could Google the phone number, right? That pops up on your screen. You can call someone and ask them if they've ever heard of this company, or Google the company and look up the number for yourself. Don't take the number that pops up on your screen. Or call a reputable business that in your area that might do some computer work, right? Fake check scams. These things have been going on for a long time. They're still out there. I will get into that. I mentioned some cryptocurrency scams. These are often tied into romance scams. Okay, I'm going to talk about that in detail. Family or friendship, people close to you. These are not imposter scams, but these are people close to you. Maybe a home health aide is, you know, asking you for money or asking to go to the bank for you, and maybe some additional money is missing from your checking account. Maybe there are checks missing from your checkbook, right? These types of things that someone that's not an imposter, someone that's closer to you, a distant relative, a neighbor, a home health aide, right? We always have to make sure that the people that come into our home, we know them, we trust them. And if there is a home health aide involved and that they're acting inappropriately, or you believe that they're acting inappropriately, you know, call someone. That's another common theme, especially for seniors in our community. Many are reluctant to report these things. They feel embarrassed. They feel like their relatives won't trust them anymore. And they're reluctant to report these things. Very important to tell somebody, report it, or even if you think something is happening, call a friend, call a close relative and ask them. You know, say, I got this phone call and they said they're asking for, you know, a lot of money because they're going to turn off my Con Ed tomorrow, right? Ask somebody, tell a friend or somebody you trust. Finally, homeowner scams. There's a lot of deed fraud out there, and our office has handled a lot of cases. I work in the elder fraud unit, but we also work with the Housing and Worker Protection Bureau. They handle a lot of deed fraud cases, and they've been successful in returning many deeds that were fraudulently transferred to scammers. Home contractors, right? I'm going to get into that. So again, we'll start off with the romance scam. So a lot of money, a lot of victims have been lost. You can see the numbers here on the screen. I don't have to read them. A lot of these things start off possibly on Facebook or some other standard social media. You can see that the excuses on here. They start up a friendship. The friendship is usually a little bit faster than normal, right? They want to get a lot of information about you. Here's some excuses, right? I'm injured. I'm in the hospital. I need money. I'm living a great life because I'm investing in cryptocurrency. I can teach you how to invest, right? I'm in the military in another country. I'm trying to get back home. So all these excuses come after the friendship is started and after the trust is started. I need help with an important delivery. I'm going to send you something very valuable. I'm going to send you money to help take care of you, but I need money to pay for the shipping, right? There are many excuses, and and on the next screen, I'll show you some warning signs. Romance scammers always have a reason why they can't meet you in person. They always tell you they're going to come and visit, but just before they come, there's always some type of problem or tragedy that prevents it, right? I mentioned the relationship, the friendship seems to move very fast. They want to gain trust quickly and then move to the money, right? Speed is very important to them. They generally steer you off the major social media sites to other sites, WeChat and things like that. This is beneficial to them, right? It's not as easy to track them and to get records. They're more interested in learning about you than providing details about themselves. They might provide you a photo or persona of a businessman that works overseas in another country, a lot of times in the Middle East, or they're in the military. They might send you great looking photos of someone, in a military uniform, and they know what to do to get your trust. So it's fine to make friends. It's fine to communicate with friends and people on Facebook or whatever. But when the topic turns to money, that's the time to stop and talk to somebody, ask somebody before you're sending any money. I mentioned crypto scams. A lot of times this is connected to a romance scam. People gain your trust, they start a friendship, and as you're telling each other about your lives, they say, well, I retired and I'm living this great life because I'm trading cryptocurrency and I'm making a lot of money and I don't have to work anymore. Typically a victim will say, well, that seems really great. How do I do that? And the scammer is more than happy to show you. And they show you how to open an account. They show you how to put your money in the account. And then they tell you there's some special account or some special investment, and they transfer it into another account, and then it's gone. So if you have any interest in investing, cryptocurrency, anything like that, this is very complicated. There are 10,000 cryptocurrencies, many of which are worth less than a penny. So my advice to you is if you're looking to invest in something, use a reputable investment company, somebody you can see in person that has an office, and ask them many questions. I went through a lot of these warning signs of the crypto scam. You fund the money, you send money into the account. You may even actually buy cryptocurrency, but once you transfer it into that unknown account, it's gone. If there is a cryptocurrency situation, it's very important for you to jump on it and report it right away. It's very hard to track cryptocurrency after the first 48 to 72 hours. So it is important to tell somebody if something like this is occurring. Investment real estate scams. There's a lot of investment ads, advice out there. They promise very high returns, very low risk, buying properties, flipping them or selling them quickly, and it's a great profit, right? If something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Again, these people, they might contact you by internet. They may even show up at your house and tell you that they're investing in properties, and they may show you some very convincing material. But again, if you want to invest, if you want to be in real estate, use a reputable, verifiable professional, right? The grandparent scam. This is a big scam that we've seen a lot, and a lot of people have lost quite a bit of money on this scam. It could be a relative, a grandson in jail. It could be a relative that is hurt or in the hospital. The scam is the same, right? They call you and they say, Grandma or Grandpa, I'm in jail or I'm in the hospital. And the person says, gee, that you sound different. Is that you, Jimmy? Well, now the scammer knows that your grandson is named Jimmy. And they say, yes, it's me, Jimmy. And they tell you that they need $7,000 or $10,000 for bail money or for hospital bills. And they put you on the phone with somebody else that is supposed to be an attorney or a bail agent or something to that effect. And if you pay that money, they might tell you to send it overnight express delivery to some unknown address. They may even offer to come and pick you up at your house and drive you to the bank to get money. If you pay that first amount of money, you're going to get another phone call from the alleged grandson or from the attorney asking for more money, saying that the charges have been increased and you need more bail. So again, this is an imposter scam. We have to verify before sending any money, right? One phone call to your relative will end this scam. They will often tell you that you cannot tell anybody about this because the case has been sealed by a judge. So again, you just have to verify, right? Before sending any money. Email or phishing scams. I've personally seen a number of complaints recently for pop-ups for on your computer for bank problems, even email virus problems, printer problems. You may click on an unknown email and a number pops up and it says, warning, your computer is infected, your computer has a virus. And if you call that number, right, we don't know what number that is. It just says, call this number. It might say Microsoft. It might say, Chase Bank. Your computer has been infected and your bank account is compromised, right? If you click on that link or you call that number, now you've invited the scammer in, right? If you click on the link, they could now have access to your computer. If you call the number, they're going to tell you about your computer problems and that your bank account was affected, and you have to take action. You have to move your money out of your account to protect it from being stolen by hackers. And they're going to give you an account to move your money to, or they may ask for permission to get on your computer, and they will go into your bank account from your computer. So it's very important. Don't click on any unknown emails, unknown links, right? Or definitely check out the company that sent it to you. If you do need computer assistance, virus protection, use a reputable company. Go ask Best Buy or something, someone that you can see in person. And never give remote access to your computer unless you're absolutely sure who it is, right? Once they have access to your computer, they can access a lot of your personal information, and that leads to identity theft or even access to your bank account. Generally, phone scams, right? These are imposter scams, as we mentioned before. Always verify who you're talking to. If somebody calls you from Chase Bank saying there's a problem with your account, hang up the phone and call Chase Bank on a number that you know and you can verify, not the number that the caller gives you, right? This could be a government agency. It could be a New York City agency, a municipality, anything. Also, please keep in mind that legitimate businesses and government agencies do not do business or request payment with gift card, cryptocurrency, or sending somebody to your house to pick up cash, right? If anybody wants to do that, if anybody's asking for those things, you know right away that it's a scam, okay? They try to create a lot of fear and panic to get you to act without thinking. So that's the best advice, is to, slow down, check with somebody, and verify what's going on or who you're talking to before sending any payment. We've seen a lot of these lottery or sweepstakes scams. And these seem kind of hard to believe that they work, but I've seen complainants come in with complaints that have lost a lot of money. It could be a lottery, it could be an inheritance that you're going to receive an inheritance. Again, a legitimate lottery does not require you to pay money up front to collect that prize, right? If it's an inheritance, if you're going to inherit some money from a relative, again, you don't have to send money to some unknown attorney in order to get that money. So again, verify who you're talking to, tell a friend or tell a close, someone you trust, and ask them about the situation. Talk to an attorney that you know, right? Before you send any money or take any action. Generally, fake check scams. Usually these occur when they're advertising a work from home job, or you're selling something on the internet and somebody responds and they says, yes, we're gonna hire you, or I want to purchase this item that you're selling. And they might send you a check for 3 times the amount that you're asking, or 3 times the salary that they're offering. And they ask you to deposit the check and send the additional money to someone else for costs or to purchase materials. What will happen is that check that goes into your bank account will clear temporarily. And when you send that excess money to some unknown account, the next day that check will be found to be fraudulent, and your account will be deducted, and you will be out the money that you've sent. So if somebody's asking to deposit a check or send money to an unknown account, definitely verify and check out who you're dealing with before you send any money, or wait 2 or 3 days and make sure that check is good. Home health aid or family member theft, right? One thing I will mention, if somebody is coming around your house to try to help you, maybe they want to offer to help you with your shopping or your banking, and they tell you, well, if you add me to your bank account, I can help pay your bills, I can, deposit money. So always remember that if you add somebody to your bank account, that person is a joint account owner, and they can take out the money from your bank account just like you can, and it would not be a crime. Same goes for power of attorney. If you think you may need somebody to be a power of attorney, this is not a decision that's made in a rush, that's made last minute. This should be carefully thought out. You should speak to your family members, speak to an attorney, and make sure that this person is trustworthy. You know them a long time, you trust them, and they're going to act in your best interest. Okay? If you do have a power of attorney and the person is not acting as you would like them to act, speak to an elder law attorney and about trying to revoke that power of attorney. And generally, you should not feel pressured to sign documents, to add a joint account holder, to sign a power of attorney. If somebody is pressuring you to sign these documents, there's something wrong, right? And you have to stop and talk to somebody you trust. I talked about deed fraud, right? If somebody is trying to assist you with a housing transaction, maybe a refinance, maybe they're promising to lower your mortgage payment, make sure that you understand the documents that are being shown to you. Speak to somebody you trust, speak to an attorney. Don't sign documents that you don't understand, right? We've had many examples where people have signed documents, they don't know what they're signing, and later they discover that they signed a deed transfer and they transferred their house to some unknown person, right? So make sure you're understanding what you're signing. Just generally keep your personal information safe, right? This is a common theme with identity theft. Verify who you're talking to. Don't give out your personal information. Don't click on unknown links and let them into your computer. Make sure that your checkbook, your banking documents are secure. If there's somebody that's helping you or coming into your house, make sure they don't have access to your personal information, to your bank, your credit cards, your checkbook, things like that. And as we mentioned before, stay on top of your statements. Make sure you're reviewing your statements, any statement, Con Ed, your bank statements, your credit card. If something is wrong, report it right away. Call the bank right away. Make a police report. Call our office. Right? And I've talked about many of these strategies, but here they are in one page to avoid being a victim, right? Sending money to people that you don't know, to accounts that you don't know, sending money by gift card. This is a big red flag for a scam, right? If somebody's asking you to keep it a secret, sending money and don't tell anybody, that's a big red flag for a scam. Giving strangers access to your bank account information or being cautious with joint bank accounts, right? Not signing documents you don't understand. Avoid unsolicited offers. If somebody shows up at your house offering to fix your roof for half the price, but you have to pay in cash, right? This is somebody you don't know. They just showed up at your house one day. So these are red flags. This is some contact information for our office, for the FBI Internet Complaint Center, the Federal Trade Commission, right? These are all good numbers to have. So if you want to take down some information, even if you have a question about something, if somebody calls you up and they say your bank account is being compromised, give our office a call before you send any money, right? So I kind of moved through this quickly because I know we're a little pushed on time, but hopefully we can have some question and answer and answer anybody's questions that they may have.
Thank you so much, Darren, for your
Thank
so
you
detailed.
so much.
Yeah. So I just want to ask, just accepted to call to go to the police office to do the police report. Actually, the victim can call the DA's office, right, for the help, right?
Yes. I mean, we can't do a police report, but if they go to the precinct and they're not taking the police report, I'm happy to make a phone call and try to help them with that.
Okay.
So I don't know if you'd like me to leave this on the screen or if people want to write this down or they've got it, but I can leave it or stop sharing, whatever you'd like.
Sure. So yeah, you can stop sharing. I already took the screenshot, and later okay. I can share to the other person.
Right.
So yeah, for the audience, somebody want to ask a question for Darren? Let me see here.
Hi, Darren, this is Kaylee. I have a question in terms of, I guess once we have a police report that's filed for the identity theft issue, and is there a process for them to kind of investigate and figure out what was going on and who is I guess, behind all of this? Because I think most of the time we find that there are cases created, but, you know, the detectives comes to the house and kind of just inquires about it, but then we never hear about like what happens after that. So just curious to know if you're aware of like, I guess, what happens after the creation of the police report, and if we should be communicating with specific parties to be tracking that progress.
Yes, excellent question. And I find this a lot. So typically what happens after a police report, they will assign it to a detective. And, you know, I have to feel for complainants, because I've tried to contact detectives about cases that we have in our office. And sometimes I have a very hard time getting a hold of a detective. You know, they're out in the field all the time. They may be, you know, running from one case to another. And sometimes it's hard to get them. You may have to try for a few days, but you should find out the name of the detective that was assigned to that complaint, get their name and number, their contact information, and you may have to call them, you know, a few times, or get their email, you know. And again, just like with the police report, be persistent. Let that detective know that you're aware, that you're on top of it, that you know that they're assigned, and you want to speak to them and get updates on their investigation.
Is it fair to say, I guess, not every investigation will result in, I guess, actual form of a I mean, like, I guess not punishment, but like, would a case just be sitting there most of the time if we don't persistently ask the detective? Because I just feel like I did reach out and like in these scenarios, but it's just hard to get a response. And then I also am not aware of how to kind of track, like, is there a system for us to track the status of the case? Or is it just kind of, you know, up to the detectives at that point on?
Yeah, it's really up to the detectives. I mean, the system of tracking your case is to just stay in touch with the detective. And there are cases, depending on the circumstances, that are investigated but may lead to a dead end, right? If it's, for example, when money is sent with gift cards, a lot of times these gift cards are redeemed in other states or other countries, and you know, it can lead to a dead end in certain circumstances. And in that case, the detective should tell you, well, this is what we've done in our investigation. This is what information we found. This is how we followed up. And, you know, this is the next steps, or this was a dead end. We're unable to go further from here. You know, every situation, every scam is different, but, you know, a lot of times the detectives will send subpoena requests to our office, and we will subpoena documents depending on what type of investigation it is. And then it could take anywhere from 4 to 6 or 7 weeks to get subpoena records back. Those records then have to be downloaded and examined. Sometimes an investigation might yield, you know, 300 pages of bank documents, for example, or 100 pages of email records or IP addresses. So these things do take some time, but staying in touch with the detective and letting him know that you're on top of it is the best way to get a response and to keep going on the investigation.
Thank you. I appreciate the explanation. This is really helpful.
Sure.
Thank you, Darren. Yeah, so I want to find out from which point, like DA's office will be start to the investigation instead of like a detector. So
Well, we do take complaints in our office, and we do initiate investigations. Typically, especially the banking related scams, as we mentioned earlier, they do require a police report. So in those instances, it's always best to start at the police precinct, and they will initiate the investigation. We may assist them with the investigation with gathering documents, maybe subpoenaing documents, but they will be the lead in that investigation. And also there are times where people come in with complaints directly to our office, and depending on the circumstances, we would start an investigation.
Okay, thank you, Darren.
Sure.
So you still will stay in a meeting, or later maybe have a later or later if really have the other questions, maybe I can pass to the Elizabeth. So I'm not sure you still will stay in the meeting or you will.
Oh, sure,
leave.
Sure.
Okay, so we go to the next guest speaker. Okay, so then we collect more information later. So, okay. So next one, we will invite the TransGlobal, the Chief Investment Officer, Herman Chen, like give our some 5 minutes, like information sharing.
好，谢谢主办单位跟谢谢主办单位跟各位观众朋友，大家晚安，大家好。我们今天听到了很多诈骗，这是一个很不幸的一个消息。那希望这些资讯对大家有帮助。那我们会发现，有的时候即使有的时候别人不一定是有心要骗你，那你也觉得你自己可能很注意了，但是就是因为一些小细节没有留意到，那你还是有可能会发生一些损失。其实像最近的硅谷银行的案子，我相信大家都有听到过。那其实相信很多人都应该了解到说，其实这个存款保险是25万美金。其实美国的存款保险在全世界比起来是相当高的，25万的确是相当高的一个额度。可是对某些人来讲，他可能会觉得说，这个银行就在我家旁边，他也在我跟他合作很久了，他也一向很有声誉。那就算有超过一点钱，他可能也觉得没有太大的问题，那就会觉得存款都应该是安全的。但是直到硅谷银行还有现在某一些在市场上也有一些地区性的银行也传出了一些不太稳定的消息的时候，大家才开始意识到说，会不会我存放的超过25万的部分没有办法享受到存保的保障，那我有可能就拿不回来了。那大家要注意说，这一次硅谷银行是开了一个不能说先例，这次的硅谷银行是很幸运的，即使你超过25万，你也可以全数把钱拿回来，但是没有人知道这件事以后还会不会继续发生。那我们看到很多的银行出问题，大家可能会觉得很惊恐，但是其实我们要留意一个更大的一个背景，就是说这其实是一个经济衰退下通常会发生的一个环节，不一定会有像07到09年金融海啸那样子，好像记得有高达几百家的银行倒闭，可是还是很有可能会有其他的银行碰到问题。那我们当然相信这个政府稳定金融市场的决心，他们也做了很多的措施，但是根据过去经济衰退的一个潜力来看呢，通常金融市场不会在一开始政府救市就会开始稳定，还有可能会有一些余波。那另外一个就是通常在经济衰退的时候呢，诈骗案也会会有更多的诈骗案，这也是提醒大家要注意的一个地方。我想我们当然还是
稍等一下，我那个因为有些朋友没有听到声音，因为之前就是说你把那个声音放到了那个 Chinese 的 interpreter， 你把它换回来，换到那个 original audio， 好吧？因为现在就是 Herman 他讲的是中文， 但是如果你还在那个翻译那个频道里面，你就听不到他讲话，所以你就要到那个小地球里面，然后换回到那个 original audio， 然后你就可以听到那个 Herman 的分享了哈。Yeah，OK，continue，谢谢，不好意思。好，
谢谢主办单位提醒非常感谢。好，所以我们刚刚提到就是这个有经济衰退，所以存款金融市场不会马上稳定，另外一个会有更多的一个诈骗的一个问题。那我想我们都对美国的金融体系至少对存保是有一定的信心的，所以如果大家今天在一个银行的存款没有超过25万的话，我是建议是不用恐慌。我知道有些人可能会开始考虑是不是要去银行把钱都放回家塞在床垫底下，我是觉得真的是不需要，没有必要恐慌到那个程度。但是如果你在一个银行你的存款的确有超过25万，那你也的确不太安心的话，那应该是可以考虑一下分散风险，把你的资金呢分配到不同的银行。那如果你的资金跟25就是可能只比25万多一点，或比如说不到50万，你放个2、3家银行，其实就蛮安全的。那当然，如果你的资金还要再多一点，那你现实生活中你也不太可能跑那么多银行开那么多账户的话，那市场上也有一些金融机构，它提供了一个，它可能跟很多家银行合作，它这个 program 你可以开一个账户，它帮你自动把资金呢分配到不同的银行，所以让每个银行的存款都会在存保的上限以下。所以举例来讲，有的 program 它可能提供了。它跟很多家银行合作，它可以提供是1000万甚至2000万以上的这个存款保险。那当然我们就像 Darren 刚才讲的一样，就是说如果一件事听起来好的不像真的，那可能不是真的。所以如果有人跟你介绍这些 program 的话，你还是要多加留意一下，就是这是不是有一个有信誉的金融机构提供的，那它有没有什么文件可以证明它合作的银行是哪些，那这些银行是不是都有参加存保。那我最后就是提醒大家，在经济衰退的时候，我们在很多方面都会面临挑战。那照道理来讲，存款是最安全、最可以保障我们的生活的。那我们应该要采取一些行动确保我们的存款的确很安全，不会受到任何的影响。就是谢谢大家。
来，谢谢 Herman。那么就是 TransGlobal 它现在也是有提供这个 checking account， 对吧？是。现在是有100多家银行是
我们跟900多家银行合作。
OK， 900多家银行合作，就是如果客户的这个资金有到达非常多，就比如说1000万左右，或者是很高的数额，或者是就是超过25万的，就可以开这个 account， 是不是？然后就是
就是我们是建议大家超过25万，为了分散风险的话，那你又不愿意跑很多家银行的话，可以考虑这一类的 program。OK，
好的，那到时候你可以把一些这个 flyer 可以发给我，然后到时候可以 share 给大家，好吧？
好的，谢谢。
好的，谢谢 Herman。So we just talking about the 250,000, the FDIC, the insurance. So we just suggest that people, if they had the limits or over this limits, they can deposit the money to the bank. So if you open a different account in the same bank, over 250,000 is not insured. So you can go to another different bank to open a different account. Yeah, that will be security by FDIC for 250,000. Well, if you think it's really complicated, you can find some financial like company. They had holding over 100 or even more the banks to can have this kind of service to put your money under $250,000 to each bank. So it's more convenient. So if some 就是有感兴趣的朋友的话，到时候可以跟我要这样的 flyer， 好吧？那么下面呢，我们 的这个109分局的联络警官黄警官呢，他上线了。那么我们让这个黄警官来跟我们分享一下。OK， the Iris Huang from the 109 precinct, let's share some idea for us. OK， 黄警官。
OK， 大家晚上好，我是109分局的社区事务联络官黄警官，很高兴参加今天的这个活动。然后我知道大家有很多人都会有被诈骗那个经历我就讲到我们先讲就是银行类的诈骗。然后最近我们有发生很多的案子，就是有人发现自己银行的账户然后被人动用了钱款被取走了。很多情况下可能是我们说的是网上的时候那些密码疏忽，然后被那些黑客或者那种犯罪分子利用这些那个空隙，然后钻进去，然后就取走了。还有一种情况就是最近发生的是，经常有人他们的驾照然后被更换了地址，然后有人然后更换地址再把新的驾照把它转到新的地址，然后在那边拿着真的驾照，然后再去银行账户的柜台上，然后去取款。然后银行机构的话，那边我觉得个人认为也有很大的那个就是责任，因为没有真正的去确认就是储户的真实身份，然后在账户上，然后在那个柜台上就把钱给让人转走了。然后就是我希望就是大家注意的是，可以用那个3大信用社，然后 Equifax、TransUnion 或者是 Experian， 然后这3大信用社去做一个 credit monitor。然后如果有人是你的身份被盗用，或者你的有人用你的那个信用卡用你的身份开账户，包括你的那个地址身份被转动以后，他会及时的会提醒你，这样的话你会第一时间得到这些信息，然后可以把它改正过来。因为我们最近就是有接到就像此类的案件，然后有的数目大到几万甚至十几万几十万的都有，然后这是一个非常需要注意的地方。然后还有的就是同样就是像电话账单类的这些诈骗，也是同样的，就是最主要还是因为身份的盗用，然后就是让那些非法分子有机可乘，然后把你的身份然后用去开账户是这样，就是这样的案件比比皆是。然后我就想，如果你是成为此类的受害者的话，你可以做的是可以到109分局来报案。然后报案的话其实也很简单，就是只要有那个被开账户的账单，然后我们有此为证据，然后我们就可以帮你做 identity theft 此类的那些报案记录。之后的话，这些案子我们会尽量收集有用的信息，从你这边告诉我们的信息我们会收集，然后会给我们的那个 detective squad， 就是109分局的警探组，然后在那个情况下他们会去做后续的调查。就像前面那个 Queen's DA Office 也刚刚也提到过，可能就是有时候有人觉得我报案了，报案之后就好像没有再有任何的信息的，因为抓这些 identity theft 其实有时候也有一定的困难。因为如果说发生在美国本土的话可能还好一点，像很多时候我们知道我们这些诈骗都是有时候会发生在境外，特别是像可能大家也经常会收到一些陌生的信息或者是陌生的电话，他们包括会收到你家里有人现在有困难或怎么样，然后或者有人被逮捕了，然后把这个钱汇过来，然后就是利用各种的那种说法那个说辞来骗取你的信任。然后特别是老人家特别会针对此类的那些诈骗会特别容易的掉入陷阱，然后就把他们毕生的这些积蓄都汇出去。然后我们就是碰到类似此类的案件的时候，也会去跟银行说，如果说有人突然间有大笔的汇款，然后几十万或者是几十万往外汇的话，你就跟一些汇款人再确认一下。银行当然是肯定会这样做，但最后的决定权银行也说是在你的身上，如果他一定要汇出去的话，他们也没有办法阻拦。那有时候发生的话，可能你们报道上也经常会看到他的毕生的积蓄就汇出去了。因为我们也曾经碰到一个案子，一个老太太她大概有50几万的那个存款，最后一下子全都被骗走了，就汇出去，而且汇的地点是香港那边。那一旦跨境然后是那个 international 的话，那就是是国际犯罪的话呢，对于本土的警察来说就比较难的去处理这些事情。所以我们最终还是经常以教育为主，就是会去任何的 senior center 或者任何的地方有那些crime prevention lecture， 我们经常会讲到 scam 诈骗一类的，就告诉大家一定要识破这些各种各样的诈骗的手段。 然后当别人问到你需要那个要钱，哪怕去投资或怎么样的话，都就是等于是多放一个心思，多想一下，不要那么快的，就是说好像头脑一发热就会被骗走，这样的话很容易就损失大量的财产。所以包括如果未来的话，如果任何当然希望在座不会成为下一个受害者，但如果万一身边的朋友或者有发生此类的案件的话，可以到109来报案，或者来找我，或者有后续的需要 follow up 的话，我知道有时候他们就像那个公司第一集前面也讲到的那个，有时候可能是他去找警察，可能都找不到或怎么样，没有关系，你们可以找那个沈会长，然后把信息发给我，然后我帮你去 follow up，到时候会给你个答复。因为此类的案件的话，并不是每一次我们都能给侦破，因为毕竟有时候说跨国境、跨州作案的话，会有一定的难度。Okay.
好，谢谢黄检官。那么听众有没有什么问题要问黄检官的？还有之前的这个 DA， 对，大家可以举手或者是打开话筒问哈。
我问黄警官，黄警官，我在法拉盛，我护理公司我的支票被盗了，存到法拉盛的就是这个什么法拉盛银行了。然后呢，我已经报案了以后吧，没有任何信息，我怎么办？我找到法拉盛银行169分局去报案去，他们不采纳，他们说让我回到我家附近报。我在我家附近我报了案了，没有任何结果。
您家是住哪里？
我家住森林小丘啊。
森林小丘，因为是这样的 ，OK， 我们是因为毕竟你家是住在森林小丘那边的话，应该是112分局，因为它是根据本身的住址来报案的，然后并不是说你跑到109过来报案，因为这不是我们的辖区之内，所以为什么会告诉你要回到森林小丘那边112的分局去报案？因为那是他们的管辖地区。
因为他们存的是法拉盛银行，在法拉盛存的。
对，我懂，因为是法拉盛银行，但是就是说你是受害人，他是根据受害人本人的居住地址，然后来划分的，所以受害人会到当地的居住的那个警局去报案，然后呢，你可以把那个信息提供给他们的时候，最后存钱存到法拉盛那个 bank， 他们112分局那边有他们的那个 detective squad， 也有他们的那个侦探组，你这些所有的信息写在报告上的话，他们会做后续的调查。
我都已经报了，拿到法拉盛银行给我打出那个支票哈，他们拿着，他们是重新开的账户，把我这个支票存到法拉盛银行去了。
那就是说，就现在就是说，还就是说你还在，就等于他们还在调查当中，还没有任何的后续，是不是？
没有任何的结果，怎么办？
那就像我说一样，可能有时候就破类此类侦查的话，需要一定的时间，所以你可能需要耐心等待一下。然后，你说。
另外那个我听那个我跟他会报案的时候吧，他说这种情况下很难找回来，能不能找回来？
不能完全保证。OK， 我们有就是如果说是在当地的话，比如说我发生在 New York City， 然后如果有一定的证据的话，然后是我们可能可以找回来，但并不是完全一定肯定。
因为我这个证据这么确凿，开户人有他的名字，还在那个法拉盛银行，在法拉盛开的户，那为什么就找不回来呢？
因为你的案子不在109这边，我也没有办法完全就是说去解释这个为什么没有找回来，因为那边他们那个112分局，他们有他们自己的 detective， 他们有自己的那个就是一个处理的方式。然后可能需要的话，你可能需要就是说问一下112分局那边是哪一个是负责这个案子的警员。
112分局在什么的位置？我都不知道。
就他在那个好像是6480那个 Austin Street 那边。
6480。
对，你可以的话，你可以上网以后，然后有一个叫 Find My Precinct， 然后把你的地址输入进去，然后它会自动的，就是那个地图上会把你告诉你是属于哪一个分局的，你点进去以后，然后它会告诉你的那些分局的电话、警探组的电话，所以全都在里面，在纽约市警局的官方网站上面。
好的，谢谢。
不客气。
在这个 chat room 里面有个朋友说，有什么具体方法能有效防止身份被盗？
当然就是我们因为法拉盛这边也发生过很多，就是说信件被盗啊，那些信用卡被盗。然后第一点的话，就像我也要提醒一下大家，就是如果说你们有就是每天比如说你知道是几点来送信的话，然后可以尽早的把那些信件拿走。当然我们也有抓到过这些此类的罪犯，然后他们有盗用这些信件，因为里面可能有一些重要的身份信息，然后取到这些身份信息，他们会去开账户，然后盗用你的身份或者怎么样。然后所以说我说最好的方法就是可以的话去那三大信用社，你只要选一家就可以了。然后他们有专门的那个 credit monitor 那些 service， 然后任何人当需要用你的身份来开账户的时候，他们会第一时间来跟你那个确认。因为我本身其实我身份也被盗用过很多年以前，然后你就像跟一个无形的人在战斗一样，他在不停的开账户，你在不停的关账户。后来我也是，就是我也到警局去报案，然后那时候我已经在警察部门工作，我也到警局去报案，报案以后。然后去拿到这个 credit alert， 然后去跟 Experian， 然后去好像每个月要付多少钱我忘了，它有一个 service， 然后他就会每一次就是有人需要拿你的身份来开账户的时候，他会第一时间他们会跟你确认是不是你本人，是你本人的话他们才会 approve， 然后不是你本人的话他们会直接就拒绝掉，这样的话会很有效的保护好利益。
OK， 好的，那非常感谢黄警官给我们的分享哈。
不客气。
好的。那如果大家还有什么问题的话，可以在这个chat room 里面再提出。那么我们下面有请我们的这个Alpha Law 的 Luna Lee， 我们的李丽娜律师来跟我们分享一下。他们的律所呢，就是有接待过好多的这个被诈骗的这个 victim，right？就是这些受害者，那让他来跟我们分享一下，就是他接触到的这些受害者的一些故事，还有他的一些想法哈。So next we will welcome the Alpha Law, the lawyer Lina Lee, to share some story because she met many of the victims before for the like a fraud victim. So let's welcome her to share some story with us. 好了 ，Lina， 你可以把你的话筒打开哈。
Hi, good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me here. Thank you to the peer panelists who are attending this conference with me. It's a very important subject tonight that we're having discussed because actually,
Lina， 先等一下，So Lina is a speaker English， 所以那个如果听不懂英文的朋友可以到这 interpretation， 然后再把这个 Chinese 这个选项打开，然后你就可以听到同声传译的中文了哈。就是电脑下面呢就是这个小地球，好吗？如果你是手机的话，就是找那个3点更多，然后里面有个小地球，然后点一下，它里面就是有中文、英文，然后你就选中文就好了，好吧？好 ，Sorry，OK，Lina， continue。
Okay. So recently, our law firm had an alarming number of criminal cases come in revolving around bank frauds, right? There's a large population of victims having sought our assistance in this matter. You know, here I am, I'm going to in particular 2 cases that can really sort of illustrate the issues that are concerning to the public, right? So one of the cases that I've recently encountered was, I'll call him by victim A. He is a U.S.-born citizen. He's never owned or registered for any IDs with the Chinese government. There was $40,000 withdrawn from his bank account in one day with a fake Chinese passport with the bank teller. Now, there's no way that he ever submitted any Chinese passport to the bank because he is an American citizen. The Chinese government would never have issued him a Chinese passport. There's also no way that he registered for it. So someone showing up and appearing to the bank to withdraw $40,000 from the bank with a fake Chinese passport and being accepted is alarming, right? There's no secondary or additional ID that was requested by the bank teller for this criminal to withdraw the $40,000. Now, when the victim rushed to the bank where the money was withdrawn, the teller actually admits to him that the passport looked nothing like him. He was then asked by the bank to file a police report, and after being at the precinct and filing the report, the police actually asked the victim to go back to the bank and file another complaint with the bank as well. So he did both. And unfortunately, after filing both complaints, it wasn't until 3 months later that any police even looked into the matter in regards to even the surveillance that was in the bank, the video camera catching the criminal. On the bank side, there was also no news. That's, this is a very frequent situation that victims end up facing. In fact, I have another victim, and this is the second victim that I'm talking about. She lost tens and thousands of dollars that was stolen from her bank account. This criminal, again, used a fake ID, and it was obtained, the money was obtained from a bank teller at the bank physically. So again, the bank had no additional requests for additional identification from the criminal, which made it very easy to withdraw this tens and thousands of dollars. What was interesting about this case was that this victim actually never ever banked at this branch before. She always banked at places at the branch near her home or near her work. So with a simple check of her banking history, I think bank tellers could easily see that, this is alarming, right? Tens and thousands of dollars is being retrieved, and it's at a bank location that this victim would never go to. I think easy checks like that would be reasonable, right? From the bank side to sort of prevent these criminals from actually taking money from accounts. So there are lots of issues that we see here when you overlap cases and victims and stories, right? There's a lot of what I call broken system. I summarize it as a broken system because, there's a lot of things that could be done and isn't being done. And that it's just unfortunate because there's lots of victims who are losing a lot of money that could be their lifetime saving, right? There's a lot of hard-earned money in these banks. So they don't deserve this. But unfortunately, our systems could be a lot better, but they're currently broken, and there needs to be a lot of work that is to be done. I guess because the other guests in this list of chatting that has been going on, the assemblyman, the Queen's DA, Officer Huang, I think a lot has been spoken about how to protect yourselves, how to be alert about these scams going on. I guess I'm here then to just kind of talk about like the brokenness of the two systems. When I talk about the systems being the bank and the police, there's often complaint that in terms of towards the bank is that there's no Chinese customer support, right? There's no quick turnaround time. There's a long wait. You get a claim number and you're waiting around for centuries. There's a shift of responsibilities, meaning they tell you things like you should have been more careful about your identity. Maybe you should report it to the credit bureau. Maybe you should go to the police and get a criminal report. All these things when nothing is being actively done. Maybe it doesn't have to be in a particular case, but in overall system, right? They could put more security systems in place. They could do training for their tellers. They could ask for more identification. They could install fingerprinting. They could do lots and lots of things, right? And it's really due to their outdated services and security systems. Like, we have plenty of resources to do translations nowadays. Maybe, use one of those. So that, in part of the bank, I see a lot of these complaints being made as a legal counsel, and I hear them a lot. And it's very unfortunate that these systems are still so outdated, and it could be updated for sure. Now, on the police end of things, initially in the early conversation, even assemblymen addressed it as well. There were precincts that refused to make the reports for the victims. There were also long turnaround times, like, is it being investigated? Clients are currently and always asking, what is going on with my case? Can you check with the police? Can you give me a status update? What is the investigator doing about my case, right? And sometimes, unfortunately, we do get also a lot of shifting of responsibilities. Like, you should also go and check with your bank. They should also be checking and looking into this. Unfortunately, I can't get a hold of somebody, or unfortunately, that's the investigator's duty. These are, again, the system's problem, right? It's a systematic problem, meaning there's all these systems put in place, and it's really deterring from victims getting results, getting what they deserve back. And it's really heartbreaking to see. I guess here I am talking about this broken system is really me just giving a voice to these victims, because I do see a lot of disconnect here, and maybe the more that people can hear about it, the more can be done, right? I guess here I can also provide some helpful, hopefully, information that probably haven't been spoken about before. And one of them is, please make the police report, right? There's a lot of people out there, victims, who are non-US citizens, meaning they have immigration issues, and they are too afraid to go to the police. Now, that's a huge misconception. Like, do not believe in that. Your immigration status has no effect on you making a police report like this. You're not the criminal. That's number one. And number two, you haven't done anything wrong, right? Voicing yourself will only help protect you and protect the rest of society as well. So do not feel like, okay, if I make this report, I'm going to lose my chances to get an immigration status. That is absolutely not true. Go into your precinct, make that report. And in fact, in addition to that, a lot of immigrants don't have English capabilities, right? It doesn't have to be immigrants. People in our community in Flushing, right? They have a language barrier. It's very real. It could be in other areas of Queens as well, all over New York, right? But know this, you can always ask for a translator. And I think it's perfect that Officer Huang is here. Maybe he can add to this conversation about how victims can come into the precinct, and what is the procedure, what is the wait like for a victim to get a translator, right? Because these are services that are provided, right? And so how difficult it is to get it, and how quickly can a victim get this service that they need. So language is not a problem. Your immigration status is not a problem. Go make that report, right? Because that's the first step in anything. And it's also another piece of evidence. So say that we end up in litigation somehow, right? And we go to court. We need solid proof that something happened. Okay. So having a police report is that third-party proof that something did happen, right? And that's something that we can go to court with, something that judges will consider, something that your opponents will consider. So that's always the step that you have to take. It's not optional. it's mandatory, right? And I think another piece of advice out of my experience from the bank system is that when you make a claim, you get a claim number, get the number down, keep it in your records, and then make sure that you take down the name of the person you spoke with. If they have a customer ID, take that down. If they have an extension number, you take that down as well, right? By taking down all these information, not only is it evidence, but it's also helpful to follow up with, right? So one of the things I tell clients to do when they don't hear back for a long time is to escalate the claim. Now, what does that mean? That means go call the bank back, tell them that I need to escalate the claim because nothing is being done and that's not right, right? I have to get my results and the money is just going farther and farther away from me. So have a supervisor look into your claim. Have anybody that's above the lower tier representative. So ask the bank, tell them, customer service, please escalate my claim. And here's my claim number. Here's the person that helped me before. Get me a new case manager on it. The other thing to do, and it's been repeated over and over again through this conversation, is please report your the scam events or the fraudulent activity to the credit bureau, right? That's the first way and the most important way to prevent further identity theft, right? Once, like I mentioned in the earlier two scenarios, they were all identity theft victims, right? There was fake passports going on. There was fake IDs going on. That means this person, whoever has the ID using your name and information, can go to any bank, can go to any financial institution and create new things that would damage not only your credit, but also damage your financial assets, right? So having that lock on there may be a little bit inconvenient because you'll always have to approve of something when it's actually you, right? But even so, it's very critical because you're in danger. Like this is already a red flag to show that you need to do something about it, right? That someone's already attacking you. So you must take that step. And when you go to these banks, even in person to the branch, seek a supervisor, right? Seek somebody higher up. There's people in the lower tier, like bank tellers, they have limited power, they have limited time and resources, right? So if you escalate the problem to a supervisor or a manager, it's often, they'll give you more opportunities to resolve the problem, right? They'll give you either methods that, in their experience, that might work, or information more related to your case to help guide you. So don't be afraid to voice your concerns and obtain the necessary resources, right? The biggest flaw to any case is by remaining silent. If you remain silent, there is nothing anybody can do. Not the police, not myself, not the assemblyman, not the bank. So do not take that route. Yes. That's all I have to add to this conversation.
Thank you, Nina. Yeah, the very helpful information for our audience. I saw the Darren hand up before, so you have some question?
Oh, I was just going to add, I when she mentioned about making the complaint with the bank, I've had victims come into us, and when I asked them, did they make a fraud report to the bank? They said, yes, I went in and I told the person at the branch, right? So this person thought they made a fraud report, but really they just told somebody at the branch, And I said, did you fill out any forms? Did you have anything notarized? And they said no. So here's an example. This person thought they made a fraud report, but unless you fill out that form, and it's probably a 6 or 7 page form, you're writing all your information, you're writing a description of what happened, you're signing it, it's notarized, and it's an official bank fraud report. So people may tell somebody in the branch, but unless you make that official fraud report, as Alina said, you get that claim number, it's like a fraud claim number, then you haven't really made that report yet unless you do that official fraud report. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
If I may add, thank you, Darren. That was very helpful as well. And I would say as an attorney, I would recommend that you keep a copy of it, right? Other people holding on to that piece of paper is not going to help you. So once you make that report and you get that piece of paper, whatever it looks like, it could be a little bit variant depending on which bank you go to. But once you get that filled out, signed, and notarized, ask for a copy. Keep that in your records. Everything that is revolving around this case, whether it's a police report, a case number or a claim number, names, keep all of that in the record.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for Darren and Lena. Just give all the information. 就是刚刚这个Darren 的，就是这个检察官他说呢，就是说大家比如说是什么信用卡丢失了，或者是你的账户被盗了，或者什么东西，你就去了银行，就跟他们说一下。这个不是说，就是说真在银行做了一个这个欺诈的这个填这个表，就是你需要就是说你要真实的要去填这个表，然后银行才是真给了你这个叫什么一个报告。对，所以呢就是说你一定要去填这个表，然后呢就是说要刚刚那个 Darren 这个检察官说了，你要就是说有sign，就是有签你的字，然后有公证，对吧？然后呢李律师呢就说，你一定要一份这个复印件，不能说这个你填了这个表就银行就收起来了，他自己保存了，你任何的这个复印件你也没有，对吧？然后呢之后如果你要去告他，或者是你要去找比如说这个检察官或者去找律师去打官司啊，你必须手上要有这些证明。然后刚才那个李律师也说了，不管你的这个身份是合法的在这边的这个移民还是不合法的移民，你都可以去报告你这些被欺诈的这些事情。因为那个警局的话他是不会就是看你的身份你的这个移民身份也不会受任何的影响哈。对，然后就是说刚刚李律师有说了，你如果是受到这些欺诈的话，一定不要保持沉默，你一定要去警局去报案。然后呢你如果是就是你也可以找律师去帮你去争取你的这些权益哈。然后这个检察官办公室呢，就是说他也可以帮你，如果就是那个警局的话，他就是不给你写这些这个警察的报告这些东西，然后这个检察官办公室也会帮你啊。所以呢就是说今天非常感谢这个我们的上线的这个嘉宾跟我们分享了那么多有用的信息。那么我们可能也会整理一些整理一下这个，然后再发给大家。然后我们的这个视频的这个录像呢，也会在已经在这个我的 YouTube 频道，已经在纽约 YouTube 频道上面，我再整理一下呢，你们可以再看重播。现在的这个 link 呢，也可以看到重播。然后我们再接下去看一下，就是 Darren。I heard from the Elisa， she mentioned about the DA office have another seminar for the fraud on April 20, right?
I believe so, but I'm going to have to check my calendar on that. But I know we do have a couple. We do have a couple coming up. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, June, on April 20th, we do have a seminar, and it's going to be co-sponsored by the Linda Lee, Council Member Linda Lee and Council Member Lin Shumen's office. when we finalize everything, we're gonna send out the information to the public.
Okay, thank you so much, Elisa. Thank you so much for the today's guest speakers and all the audience. So anybody have the question? Yeah, we're ready. This seminar already over like 1 hour and 30 minutes. So somebody still have the question want to ask our guest speakers?
This is Assemblyman Chang. I just want to make several things. I do want to make my office available for anyone who have problem with filing a police report would do that. Second, it may be a good idea for all parents to file a credit freeze on their children as well. And of course themselves. That's might be one way to prevent future. And third is be persistent, as Mr. Derek mentioned about that. Be persistent on that. But it seems like our office, elected officials, seems to be we have more say into getting results or follow up for the constituents, even though maybe outside my district. But we're here to help. I know this is frustrating. I've seen it. I hear it. I feel it from the people. And I guess because of language barrier and culture, that our community is being taken advantage. And we do our level best is to help them whatever we can. If we can recover the money, it's a win. But most important, we need to target the people who are perpetrating this. Is it overseas or is it here locally? And that's something I wanted to stop this as possible. Or we can't stop it. We can slow down, make it hard for perpetrator to get the people's money. I hope that the seminar helps that. And again, my office is open to all for those who need help. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the Assemblyman Chan. Thank you for your passion and all the stuff you shared for us today. Yes. So I think this topic is very hard for the community right now, for the fraud, for the money, identity safe, for the stuff. So we will continue to fight and looking for the better solution for this, for all the departments. Then hope, just like the Assemblyman Chan said, hope we can target some like the crime, right? And slow down and let them too hard to get out our money, right? And for the identity safe, then we like find them who in the back to doing this kind of target the victims, right? So I think that this seminar is very helpful for right now the many victims. So thank you again for today's all the guest speakers and audience, and we will continue to looking out these topics and help our community get better, safe, and healthy, and all the getting better. Thank you so much, everyone. OK， 谢谢大家今天晚上的关注。
Thank you very much.
今天就到这，好，谢谢。Thank you, Darren. Thank
Bye-bye.
you,
Thank you.
Elizabeth. Thank you, Assemblyman. Thank you, Lena.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all 的大家的参与哈。好，我们下次见。好，拜拜。